What's this? What are you doing, little human? Why are you putting your flute away already? I didn't tell you to stop playing. You'll think a mere hour or two is long enough to put a dragon to sleep. You foolish human. I'm courteous enough to let you stay in my cave in exchange for your serviceable minstrel skills. The least you could do is be thankful and play for as long as I wish. Oh, I see. Poor little Hubert is getting sleepy already. The entire purpose was for you to lull me into sleep, not the other way around. Don't be so haughty, as if your play was that effective. Well, I suppose you are not without talent, but it's not as though you're perfect. Far from it, or clever, or discerning. Actually, did I remind you of what ill-fitting music you've graced me with, after I requested something soothing? It was that horrid. It made me picture a troop of prancing jesters with their bells all ringing at once. I enjoy that brand of throttling nonsense early in the morning and in the afternoon, but the day has wound to a close. This is the time for sounds of a more quiet nature. What about a folk dancing tune seems soothing to you? Granted. You did catch on what I meant. Eventually. In fact, my eyelids were actually beginning to feel a little bit heavier. You were playing so sweetly and slow. But then you stopped. Yeah, I know it's late. But if you can't even fulfill the one requirement that I gave you, I might as well toss you out into the woods and let you complain to the wolves about your weariness. Come on now. Your fingertips cannot be numb from the cold. I lit this pathetic little fire of yours. Are you telling me it's not enough? Oh, I see where you're playing at, little human. You think you're very cunning, don't you? Asking to lean up to my side in the very innocent pretext of keeping away the chill. You are just seeking to satisfy your ridiculous infatuation with me. And what makes you think that I'll willingly allow you to come so close to me? If you cannot even survive a cold night or two, then you are the one that is too soft, little human. I do not appreciate weak, needy beings who cannot survive on their own. That is besides the point. Just because we struck a bargain does not excuse you of your lack of survival skills. Do not forget that it was simply out of my mercy that I've saved you, and I guess my desire for good music. It is not as I've taken interest in you. I could have snapped your neck between my claws the moment I met you, and I still can if you continue to irritate me. Yes, good music. I've said before, you are not completely without talent. Anyway, just because you can carry on a tune with that flute doesn't give you the right to make demands out of me. Well, no, I suppose you didn't exactly demand, but you presumed, which I guess is just a standing. After all, this is my cave, my time and my rules. But I guess if you're that tired, I suppose it's probably wise to let you sleep. That is, if I want any entertainment out of you tomorrow. So, come lay beside me and go to sleep, and be thankful that I'm letting you. It is a privilege only one in a million can dream of experiencing. Why are you eyeing me so intently, little human? I told you, I am not your personal heater. It is no fault of mine that you haven't acquired a bedroll yet. You've had 2 days, and your cloak has sufficed you so far. Though I guess you did wake me up with your chattering teeth last night. It was rather aggravating. And should you chatter as much tonight, you're liable to damage your lips. I mean your performance value. Well then, you may curl up beside me, but do not blame me should I roll over and crush you in the night. You're the one accepting the risk of sleeping next to a full-grown dragon. The danger is apparent. Of course you don't mind. You're such a strange creature. Say, little human, have you ever assessed your sanity recently? Not that I would weep should you be injured by your own idiocy, but here, up behind my front leg should be best for your safety. I rarely move in my sleep. I mean, it's nothing. I just didn't expect you to lay your hands against me. It seems you weren't lying. They were so very cold. But my skills should warm them soon enough. Be warned, you may find it entirely too uncomfortable to stay against my side all night. On the contrary to what most think, dragons run fiery hot after all. Your cheek is cold too. Did my fire do not do anything for you? I would think that playing for so long would be enough to keep your face warm. I had you do so to put me to sleep, but now you've made me carry on a conversation. I'm far more awake now. Bedtime stories. Well, I guess when you're a dragon my age, I think I have heard of a few of human tradition, though mostly I thought those were for children, or travelers. I guess you could be considered a traveler. Very well then. Oh, by the gods, please stop already. You've barely have any breath left, and certainly not long enough to attempt any storytelling. I need you to rest your lungs for tomorrow. And besides, even with 2 lines out of your mouth, I already know you were talking about that story. You do not need to be as old as I am, or live as long as I've lived, to know the signs of such a cliché storytelling. Let me guess. The knight meets the princess, fights off danger, and everyone lives happily ever after. Perhaps there was even some magical figure or another one that helps or hinders along the way. Maybe even a mentor or a parent who meets their death. Do not try to deny it, little liar. Your blushing tells me all I need to know. And besides, all stories are the same, with changes in the details as time goes on. Cynical? I prefer the term realistic. I'm not so heartless as to despise or look down upon your stories. It's just that I've heard my fair share over the many years. It's hard to enjoy them at face value after so long. What? No. That would be counterproductive, silly human. If I'm the one trying to fall asleep, why should I be the one to tell the story? No, I couldn't just drop off in the middle. I'll be too busy focusing on the story, because I damn well would have think of something better than the tribe you've dreamed up. Do you not know how the mind of a dragon works? We do not grow old, we become eternal. Your pride does not bruise easily, does it? I guess I should admire that. But mostly I'm trying to determine if you're mad or just whimsily ignorant. Not that you're charming in either way. Besides, even if I tried telling you one of my stories, I doubt you enjoy them, unless you prefer to think of hunt and death and blood as you're falling asleep. Flying? Not much to weave a full story describing that. No, there's not. I told you, it's impossible. Would you weave a full story on something as natural for you as just simply walking? That's the same for me as a dragon. But perhaps there is one memory that may be sufficient for a calming recitation, provided you're not repulsed by the tales of a treasure. I thought not. Why else would you have been brimming with it in your threadbare rags, little thief? Nothing to say to that. Very well then. There's not much to say in your defense anyhow. As to my tale... It probably happened when I was likely reaching into my first or second century. I only ever heard of gold and treasure in buzzing words, but my heart had begun beating with a longing for it in a way that only a young dragon's can. So I set out on my first quest to obtain riches of my own. That was a very dreary day, looking back, cold and grey, with rain showering the earth in massive walls and curtains. I remembered that it had started the evening before, and appeared to have only driven stronger and faster as time wore on. There is a saying among my kind, when a storm lasts so long, we say the gods are weeping. We usually do not venture out in heavy weather. Even for a dragon, in flight, strong wind and lightning can be a death sentence, especially when you're young. But still, I left my cave that day. I had been drawn to that location because I smelled that had gold nearby, and even dampened by the storm, I could follow that scent, though the rain pelted me through my eyes, though my eyes were blinded again and again by the white-hot branches of lightning that made my blood tingle and my limbs quiver. I still flew on. Though my destination was not far off, I was wary when I landed in a castle country yard. Not that they would have stood a chance regardless. Oh, their watch was already so miserable from the rain. And by the time they saw me, I was staring into the stones of their country yard, digging my way down, down, down. I've heard their cries. I felt their peltry arrows glancing off my scales in their feeble attempt to stop me. They did not even warrant my attention. Even if they had been ready with pitchforks and torches, it would still not have been enough to ward me off. I was so driven by the scent of so much gold hidden beneath the castle in a chamber deep beneath the earth. I burrowed oh so deeply until I broke through, and I was finally rewarded for my efforts. Such an incandescently beautiful sight it was, my first glimpse of a treasure chamber. You cannot even imagine what immeasurable happiness it brought to me. As such a young dragon, my senses were awash with power and pleasure, reveling in the beauty of each and every piece. And there were jewels, So many jewels, set into jewelry, goblets, weapons, gorgeous blue sapphires, blood red rubies, and so much gold. Stacked in bricks into storage, it was just breathtaking. They had arranged everything to be as stunning and symmetrical as possible. To a dragon, however, treasure in such quantities is best enjoyed in a different manner. So I swept the displays, stripped the walls, and heaped it into a massive mound in the center of the room, where I could feel the wealth like golden sand shifting beneath my weight. Oh, human, perhaps to you, a feather bed might have been a close comparison. For a dragon resting upon a mountain of treasure is so very comforting and peaceful. So I lay down there, my head warming my new bed, and thus I laid claim to my first hoard. No man dared to disturb me, and survived to tell the story. And in games of patience, we dragons have an infinite advantage. Eventually, the humans abandoned the castle, seeing that they could not evict me. Time passed. And the earth began to swallow the flagstones. The walls bowed under a sea of green, and the moats dried up, filled with wildflowers. And all the while, deep in the safety of my new home, I slumbered.